Hello there, welcome to 3Spoonies. We're your hosts, Karen, Jo and Claire. This is episode number 58.5 and we're discussing accessible web design. Let's get in some questions.
Are you drowning in admin? Struggling to keep up with emails, invoices, social media, or the endless to-do list that comes with running a business? Then it's time to call in Vicki Admin Fairy, an award-winning virtual assistant who brings order to admin chaos. Vicki works with all entrepreneurs, regardless of their background or abilities, to take care of the time-consuming tasks that slow you down. Whether it's managing emails, sorting financial admin, handling social media, chasing late payments, the list is endless. She saves business owners hours every week, reducing stress and ensuring everything runs smoothly. With 25 years of experience, a flexible, client-focused approach, and a reputation for going above and beyond, Vicki adapts to your needs, making your business more efficient so you can focus on what you do best. And the best part? You'll have more free time to grow your business, boost profits, or just enjoy life without admin headaches. Want to free up your time and get your business running more smoothly? Visit www.vickyadminfairy.co.uk or email hello@vickyadminfairy.co.uk to find out how Vicki can help you.
Hi, I'm Karen from Pony Pony Pony.
And I'm Jo from Breakout Business Solutions.
I'm Claire from Blackvale Stationery.
And together we're 3Spoonies navigating our way through life and business with not enough spoons. We are back with Chris Naylor to answer lots more questions, well, 3, that's a lot by some standards, about accessible web design. Chris, would you like to tell us a bit about you and what you do?
Yeah, sure. My name's Chris Naylor. I am the owner of a company called Bnode Limited. We're the ethical and environmental digital marketing agency, and we're championing good accessibility to be the norm across websites and focusing on your digital growth that doesn't cost the earth.
Marvellousness and splendidness. Right, I'm just going to pass over to Claire for the questions. Whoosh!
Sections said whoosh, thank you very much. So, questions we have. First one is from Alexis. They say, what are some good color combinations to use for website design?
Oh, that's interesting. Color combinations. So when I was researching the accessibility tool, I liaised with colorblind.org, and they basically said the difficulty is that there are so many different combinations that are sort of that vary from person to person, that you couldn't necessarily get them all right. And it would be a nightmare to have a kind of hex picker on every single thing that you were doing. It's just too much. So what I would say is off colors. So you sort of might go, oh, black and white, but actually it's a slightly grayer version of black and a slightly grayer version of white is the best if you want to go down black and white. Again, helps to prevent from overwhelm. And you haven't got such a stark contrast on the two. I would say from a color point of view, what you can do is if you go onto some sort of search-based platform, whether you're a Google user, a Bing user, or Ecosia, there's a little plug for Ecosia. They plant trees for people doing searches, which is good. But if you use any of those search-related things and you put WCAG, as in WCAG space checker, you can get many different websites that literally you could put your color in there, your hexadecimal if you've got it, or your RGB colors, and it will tell you whether or not it passes the accessibility color checks. What I would say is the accessibility tool that we're launching as a WordPress plugin has a built-in one of those in it. So when somebody enters into the back end of the system, these are my brand colors. And then when they use the plugin, and if they choose, well, the background color that is too close to, say, the font color that they've chose of their branding, it does alter it slightly so that it is actually fit for purpose on the WCAG check-in.
Part of me wants to go try that. Part of me knows the answer. Several frames of purple, black and white, and not good.
Could be interesting though.
It
Yeah.
would. I might have
Also,
to do that.
just on that as well, the size of the colour can make a difference as well. So if somebody's picking a font and they've got a coloured background, the thinness of the letters that are on that font, it might be that it would pass a WCAG checker if you were to have two blocks of colour next to each other. You could tell the difference. But if you've got the thinness of, say, a font against the background, it's like, no, you can then go, right, well, do I have to make it bold? Is that good enough or not? So sometimes it is a general knowledge and understanding, but the checkers are the best way.
Fantastic. Kerning matters.
Yes.
The next question is from Salim, and their question is, are there any accessible ways to check your users are real people? Those captcha things usually seem to be a visual.
Okay, check your website for accessibility.
I think basically just make sure that people accessing your website are real and not bots, I'm guessing, from the way it's worded.
Is it that
Is
way?
it asking if captcha is?
Because it says those captcha things usually seem to be visual.
Well, it's
I know what you
the
mean.
numbers
Like when
are.
you go and prove you're not a robot and it's like, click on this, click on that.
Yeah.
Yes. Click on the ones that are a chicken and you click chicken and it goes, yes, you're a human being and all of that. That's interesting that. I ever actually checked whether the alt text on, there's a blog there in that, isn't there? I'm off. I'm going to start having a look at the different captures. Yeah, no, I'm intrigued on that. If people that provide those captures that are capturing using images, if they are using alt text, I don't know, because again, then if you're a robot, you would be able to read it and go, that word says chicken, so I'm going to click on that, so it wouldn't stop a robot getting in. So yeah, I think the visual ones are probably not going to help for anyone that isn't visually impaired.
No, I mean they also do ones that are like visually letters that are mangled, but I know those ones.
Which it would read out, and then a computer would
Yeah.
see the actual letters and go, well, that, because I can see it.
So they've always got a read this for me type thing.
Well, you get ones that like a maths question. I don't like them because me and maths aren't always that good.
I've not seen those.
Well,
I've seen some of
I've only
those.
seen it in a couple of places. I mean,
They often do it on
basic,
like school apps and things like that.
I'm genuinely going to have a look at that because I'm quite interested on how they would try to get something accessible that is using a page reader when the whole point of it is the things that you're looking at can't be read by a computer that's using what they call a spider, which scrapes a website like a page reader would. So
you'll have to come back to us on that as well. Let us know how you get on.
Maybe the solution is, if you want to have an ethical site, don't use a captcha thing that uses images, if that's the case, but I then need to have a look and see, well, what else is available that is a more inclusive thing. Great question.
That is a really good question. And our last one is from Keely, who says, do you have any tips to display lots of pictures to be viewed on mobiles?
That isn't necessarily doing like an auto scrolling. So it's the auto scrolling that I was talking to Joe about that if it automatically scrolls and someone's doing the alt text, it goes blah, 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 and then stops and it'll move on to another. I would say have something that doesn't load all the pictures in on load. So, and that's one reason. So when you load in a website, it will have aspects. It'll go, right, load all of this in as much as I can, and perhaps load in 3 of the pictures, so that when you start scrolling, you click on that one and then it starts loading in the next one. So you're always ahead like that. That way, that speeds up the website for a user point of view. You can get some that just start loading in the picture in the background. Now, what that's going to do is that's going to really slow the website down continuously because you land on it. And whether you're using that scroller or not, or whether you're looking at those pictures or not, it's just loading them all in the background. And I was just mentioning before about how online inclusivity actually has a factor of how fast, how much data a website is using. Those that are, if you think about digital poverty, those that don't have lots of money, those that perhaps are therefore sharing one device or have slow internets. If you don't optimize your website, if you don't have things like that into place, you are perhaps excluding people that are in those financial situations for whatever reason. Could be disability, could be something else. But you are excluding them because your website's just not going to load very quick. It's not going to work very well. It's going to be hard to navigate and hard to use. So from a user experience there, that's difficult. So yeah, I would try to make sure if you're having pictures that are scrolling, always make sure your next and previous buttons are nice and clear. Sometimes don't put them over the image itself, because if the image has, say, like a white bit on the right hand side and your arrow buttons are white, they're not easy to see. So have them outside of the picture. And when you're loading in the pictures, think about the ratio that you've cropped them at, because if you've got a square or an oblong or a landscape portrait, if your arrows are then moving around every time your picture changes to a different ratio one, again, A, not great for neurodivergent users because things are bouncing and moving around the place. And B, again, those that are visually impaired, they're expecting that arrow to be in that place. And then it vanishes. It's like, well, where's that gone? So think about the scrollers that you are using in those kind of ways.
Thank you. That's all of our questions from our community. Joe, Karen, do you have any?
Nope, I'm all good.
Fantastic.
We're all accessibility experts now. Brilliant.
Yes.
Hey!
I am going to ask, because obviously I know your app should be, overlay app should be out now-ish. Do you know roughly when it will be out? Because I do kind of want to get one.
Now-ish. So back in December, I was saying it would be good that it would be sort of mid to end of April. As things always happen, things take a little bit longer. I'm one of those people that will really try and make sure that it's got no avenue whatsoever that anything could break on at all in any shape, manner or form. And I want it to be the best that it possibly can be. But if you do that, things will never launch. Things will absolutely never launch because, again, I've got 1,000,001 different ideas of things that I can add to it to make it better. So it's going to launch with those few things that I've mentioned. If people go to Bnode, there is a version of it on our website, on the left-hand side if you're on a desktop, top right if you're on a mobile. So you could have a play around with that and see what sort of things it's going to be doing. There are a few additional aspects of the plugin that is going to be brought in. So text-to-speech is going to be on there, which is using the device's voices. And so again, you'll be able to select different things like that. And usually a text-to-speech thing will cost you money in itself to have that on a website. So it's nice that we're doing that and building that into it. Yeah, just keep an eye on the site. Hopefully when this is out, people will be able to go and have a look and have a play.
Fantastic. Well, make sure you drop us the link to
will.
get it, because I will add it to my WordPress website for sure.
Because I apparently want to.
Yeah, when I do my other website, I will probably add it to that as well. Because I
know I've got a long list
myself.
of stuff to do to the Spoonies website, including SEO and sorting all sorts of other bits. So it's like, I'll add that on.
Like, it's when you're doing it yourself, it's a lot. So to have something that just helps you, and I've learned a lot about WordPress this year and last year, but I don't know it all. I'm still learning. It's stressful, and this will just take a bit of pressure off. So yep, I'm willing to spend that money every month because it's valuable. Karen, I will pass back to you. Here's the whoosh.
Marvellous. Is there anything else you'd like to plug or tell us about?
For me, I think I'm good. I'm the sort of person that doesn't sell hard. If you like what you've heard, fantastic, great, amazing that you want to be more ethical and inclusive in your online assets. I guess it's not just the website side of the business that I do. I do social media support and the such. I do SEO, paid media, and everything that I do through that, again, has that ethical sort of approach to it, that inclusive point. So I'm happy to chat to anybody along those sides. You don't do 26 years of business in digital marketing and just stay for websites. So, and if anyone's interested in consulting or support for their internal team, if they've got a team of developers or designers and they're interested in listening to me waffle on for a little bit longer on how to support them, I just want to make the world a more inclusive place. I'm not here to try and steal work, make the most work or anything like that. I just want to make us all more inclusive in what we're doing.
Thank you very much. And thank you for joining us for 3Spoonies on accessible web design. We'd love to know your thoughts in the comments and any questions you may have. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe for our weekly podcast and leave us a nice review. You can also buy us a coffee if you like what we do. Links will be in the show notes, probably down there, but possibly over there, depending on your platform. We'll see you next week for our next topic, PTSD. Have a great day and keep track of your spoons.